Hi everybody, hope you're well. Today I'm going to talk about two different types of breeding, and one is referred to as pair breeding and the other one is known as back breeding. So what pair breeding is, I'm going to start off with it, is where you take a mare and a stallion, okay, and you breed those together. And they're usually siblings, okay? So they're direct siblings, and then you get offspring from that. And you take another male and another female out of that breeding and you breed together. So the best way I can explain this is, if we have a look here, this is a horse's, you've got this horse here, you have the sire and dam, and then you also have the sire and dam of each of these. So as you can see, coconut cream here and cappuccino both have exactly the same parents. So lemons, fruit salad, lemons and fruit salad. So they're both connected. That is basically the best way I can explain it. You're basically, whenever you breed two horses together, say I breed these fruit salad and lemons together 4 times, then what I would do is, out of those 4 foals that I've produced, I will pick one male and one female from those 4 foals, and I will blop those both, and then I will breed them together. So this is what's happened here with coconut cream and cappuccino. They were bred from lemons and fruit salad, and then I've blocked them together and bred a new generation, okay? So the benefit of pair breeding is they're very close in GP, in genetic potential. So if we have a look here, you can see 474.78, and the twin, well, sorry, not the twin, but cappuccino is exactly the same GP, right? So there you've got the pretty good chance of increasing it, obviously with the block value and things like that, because you're starting off, both of the sire and the dam have equal or very close together genetic potential. So there's a certain percentage, I believe it's 4%, and it will, obviously this is one of the things to just note is, whenever you're breeding horses, the further you are away from the very top genetic potential horses on the entire game, regardless of breed, the bigger the gains. So if you're very, very low down in genetic potential, you get much bigger gains between foals. The closer you are to the very top horses of the game, or if you are the top horses of the game, the smaller the genetic gains between generations. So that's why somebody breeding 400 GP horses on a server that has their best horses are 2000 GP, right? That's why they might get something like 5 GP increases with every generation, whereas the horses that are up 2000 GP are maybe getting 0.15 GP overall increase, okay? So that's why there's such a big gap. So you can do pairs, and pairs generally you're working on horses with very, very close together GP, okay, genetic potential. Whereas with another form, which is called back breeding, now people have their different preferences, and for different reasons. Some people decide to do pairs and some people decide to do back breeding. So this is an example of back breeding here. So I've got my horse here, and as you can see in this really quickly, you'll note that there is here, the dam is also the grand dam, okay? Now this is going to be a bit more confusing for me to explain to you, but what I'm saying is, you basically take the best genetic horse that you have and you breed it to the best genetic parent that it has. So the end is now, I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to try and explain this as best I possibly can. You go to the genetics and we've got a sire called Sum Yuin and a dam called Aurora. Now we're just going to look quickly at the genetic potential of this horse. So it's 1453.50 in total. So Sum Yuin and Aurora are the sire and dam. So we're going to look at Sum Yuin first. And we can look at the total genetic potential, which is right here, okay? So we're looking at that. And now we'll look at Aurora, which is the other one. And as you flick between those, you'll see that Sum Yuin is actually higher in genetic potential than Aurora is, okay? So that would mean I would use this horse to breed it with this one, okay? I hope this makes sense. You're basically taking it and you're breeding it back to the parent with the highest genetic potential out of the two. So there'd be no point in me taking this mare and breeding it and, changing the other Aurora, for example, back into, change it into a stallion and covering the end as nigh, whenever I could just use the other one, which is the higher genetic potential, better foal, okay? So this stallion would have been used then to cover the end as nigh. So as you can see, the offspring of Some You Win is the end as nigh, okay? And if I click on the end as nigh and I look to see what the offspring of the end as nigh is, if we go down to, it's this one, and we look back at the genetic, there you go, Some You Win and the end is nigh. So you took the best genetic parent of the end is nigh, okay, which was called Some You Win, and you covered it with this, and then you get an increase in genetic potential. Obviously, you need to have, a good blup value. You're not going to get that increase if your horses have no, aren't blupped. So I hope this makes sense. People use, different techniques based on whatever they want to gain, their resources, their time, the amount of people they have. It's just dependent. Some people prefer pair breeding, some people prefer back breeding, sometimes people switch between. Generally, you get a bigger increase with pair breeding overall in GP per generation, okay? Generally. Not a set rule. And, well, hope that made sense. If it doesn't, please leave a message in the comments or send me a message on Howrse, whatever you want, and I will try and maybe explain it a bit better. It is a very difficult concept to get your head around, and it just kind of takes a bit of time. But what I'm saying is pair breeding was the first one I mentioned, and that's where you're breeding siblings, okay, together. Not necessarily, they don't always have to be siblings, but generally whenever you're doing top GP horses, it's usually the father and the mother of the foals. You breed 4 foals, for example. You pick one of the foals that's a colt, you pick one that's a filly. They're both brother and sister. You breed them together and you get another foal, right? And you repeat this process. So it's always, trying to think what's the best way to explain this, but that's really what pair breeding's about. And it doesn't have to be siblings, but it's just usually horses that are most groups, not everything. So whereas with pair breeding, it's taking your highest, you're basically taking whatever your blup is and bringing it back to the highest GP parent to get better GP foals than your current blup. So it's both of them, both pair breeding and back breeding have their pros and their cons, and it's just about, increasing your genetic potential over a course of generations. I hope this has been helpful. Any problems, just drop me a message. So thanks for listening, guys. I hope you had a lovely day. Bye bye.